Hey guys, so I know there are a lot of people who are watching this channel because they might be interested in the Catholic faith. And one of the ways that you can kind of grow and know if the Catholic faith is something that you want to, continue to seek out is by going to the Catholic Mass. And so I'm just going to be doing this video for pretty much those people who have either never been to a Catholic Mass and are curious and want to check it out, because it can be a little intimidating because there's a lot of kneeling, standing, sitting, going up to the altar, like all of those little things that can be really intimidating to anybody who's never done it, or people who have been away from the Catholic faith and want to get back to the Catholic faith. This is going to be a very basic video on how to go into Mass and, just kind of the etiquette of what to do and what not to do kind of thing. So first of all, everybody is invited to go to the Catholic Mass. It is a community prayer and everyone is welcome, whether you are baptized Catholic or not. So the number one thing that the Catholic Church asks if you aren't Catholic is to not receive the Eucharist. And so what the Eucharist is it is the biggest difference between Protestants and Catholic, and that is when the priest holds up the Eucharist is what we call it. It's the bread, it looks like a wafer, but when the priest holds up the Eucharist and he consecrates it, that will become Jesus. We believe that becomes Jesus Christ. And so so the biggest thing is towards the end of Mass is everybody starts, getting out of their pews and walking up front. And so the number one thing, if anything from this video, this is the number one thing, is just don't receive the Eucharist unless you are a practicing Catholic, been to your first communion. And if you do go to RCIA, which is, you're learning about the Catholic faith and want to go into the Catholic faith, then you will eventually, have your first communion. So that will be coming. But the number one thing is don't receive it. Now you're welcome to walk up. Some people stay in their pew, but you're welcome to walk up with everyone else. But when it's time, when they'll kind of present you with the Eucharist, and what you do is you'll just hold your hands like this, and that is the universal sign that you're not ready to receive Jesus yet, and so they'll usually do a little blessing over you, and then you just kind of walk on your way. So it's not like you have to stand out or anything like that. So that is the number one thing, is that the Catholic Church asks that you don't receive if you are not Catholic. If you haven't been to church in years and years and you need to go to confession first, that's another thing. If you're coming back to the Catholic faith, then go to confession. And I have a confession video that I can link maybe at the end, or maybe, I don't know how it works, but up here somewhere. And so that will walk you through confession if you haven't been to confession in a long time. So then the next thing, so that's the number one thing. But okay, so I'll walk you through what to do. You walk in the church, and you usually walk in the back of a church or the sides, and so you'll just sit somewhere. I personally, if I were new, I would just sit in the back, because that's the easiest way to just kind of follow the rhythm of what to do. You can easily just, like I said, there's a lot of standing, there's a lot of sitting, there's a lot of kneeling, and the whole community does that all at the same time. So if you're in the back, you can just see what people are doing and follow that, and to be honest, I sit in the back because I have little kids, and sometimes they're being too loud, so I'll take, me or my husband has to take them out of the church, and so we sit in the back, and that's fine whether you sit in the front or the back. And every church should have a Catholic or a missal. And so what the missal does is it is a book that should be, somewhere in front of the seat, or, on the end of the pew or whatever, which is the seat that you sit on. And so you can follow along. Most of them have the readings in there, and so you can follow along what to do, and it'll even tell you like when to sit, when to stand, when to kneel. And most of these missals will have like the date on it, like, you know, if you're going to church on a certain date, it'll be updated to the, you know, that day, so you'll know, and you can read along. There are 2 readings, and then there's the gospel reading, so we do definitely read the Bible, and so you can just follow along with that. There are prayers. There's the Our Father, which, you know, thankfully is a community prayer for all Christians, and there are other prayers that, you know, everyone's going to be saying, and it can seem intimidating, but please, I promise you, no one's watching you. Like, it really isn't like a judgmental place, and it might seem overwhelming at first, but everybody is welcome. It is such a beautiful, beautiful prayer, and that's what Mass is. It's a prayer, as we all say it as Catholics, and we go every Sunday, and it is a beautiful thing to come together as a community and pray. So so those are kind of the beginning, like etiquette. I mean, there are things like don't chew gum in church, like that's one thing. Like, do not chew gum, don't eat or drink. You know, there was a time when my husband and I would let the kids have like little Cheerios, but we've decided that let's not do that. Let's, you know, give them their snacks before Mass and after, and have drinks before and after, but, you know, let's have this be prayer time for our family. And so even the little ones, we don't give them any snacks or anything during Mass. And so so that's another one, is just, you know, and turn off your phone. Just try to really enter into the readings and the prayers, and, you know, there will be a homily the priest will talk about, more than likely the readings, or, you know, current events or whatever it is. There's a time where the priest will talk about that. Also, if you have kids coming, that's beautiful and glorious, but I would say, you know, I've seen where kids will read books, like, I'm talking like teenagers or preteen, and they're reading books, you know, in the pew instead of like paying attention to Mass. And I just encourage you to try to get your kids to listen and try to get them involved with Mass, and even like to do the prayers, like the Mass before you go to Mass. You can do the prayer readings, the Mass readings before you go to Mass, so you kind of prepare yourself for the readings and kind of dive deeper into the readings while you're there. That's what my husband and I do that sometimes. And so I hope that this helped. I just want you to not be intimidated by the Catholic Church. I know I probably would be going into a new place and probably not want to go just because I know there's a lot of things, but I promise you, like, everyone will rejoice that you're there. No one's looking at you, especially if you sit in the back. Like, you don't have to worry about that at all. But anyway, I hope this helped. If you are Catholic and you go, and I'm leaving something out, please put in the comments. You know, if you have questions, I could maybe do another video about the Catholic faith, or, you know, how to go to church. You know, it's really basic though, and once you go, I feel like you'll get in the rhythm of it, and it's just really not intimidating. So anyway, I hope that you go and praise God with us Catholics, and that you just find a home there in the Catholic faith. So, all right, so until next time, I will see you all later. God bless. Bye.